We are anonymous. We are not a government. We are not a media network. We are a collective of investigators, hackers, and analysts who expose what others try to bury, especially in the shadows of global warfare and intelligence operations. Tonight, we take you deep inside a military-grade operation that unfolded not on a battlefield, but inside a Las Vegas casino. It began as an immigration raid, but what federal agents discovered inside revealed something much bigger. The presence of a foreign criminal syndicate operating like a state-sponsored paramilitary network, laundering millions of dollars through the heart of America's gambling capital. This is the story of the night the City of Lights went dark. October 14th, 2025. Las Vegas, a city built on noise, energy, and excess, suddenly fell silent. Helicopters hovered over the Strip, casting red and blue strobes across the glass towers of the casinos. Down below, ICE and FBI tactical teams stormed one of the busiest gaming floors in the city. Gamblers froze mid-hand as agents in black armor locked every exit and ordered everyone to the ground. Slot machines stopped spinning. Chips scattered across the floor. And in a flash, the city that never sleeps was staring at the face of a war it did not even know it was fighting. Federal agents had been tracking a Venezuelan criminal organization known as Trendearagua, sometimes called Trendeara. Born inside Tocaron Puerto in Venezuela, it started as a small group of inmates smuggling goods behind bars. But over the years, it evolved into a multinational criminal empire with a military-like command structure, advanced communications, and international financing. Their operations now stretch across Venezuela, Colombia, Chile, Ecuador, Peru, and yes, deep inside the United States. Their crimes include drug trafficking, human smuggling, extortion, contract assassinations, and large-scale money laundering. United States intelligence has quietly labeled them a terrorist-level threat, more organized, more disciplined, and richer than MS-13. That October night, in Vegas ICE, and the FBI arrested 98 people. But this was not a routine raid. What they uncovered inside those glittering walls was a full-scale money laundering hub disguised as a luxurious casino. Inside vaults, federal agents found millions in untraceable cash connected to a network stretching far beyond Nevada. This was no gambling scandal. It was a criminal infrastructure, a financial war front hidden in plain sight. The casino had been rigged from top to bottom. Players who looked like ordinary winners were actually operatives. Their jackpots were staged. The winnings were scripted. Dirty cash from trafficking and extortion was broken into smaller amounts, distributed among fake players, and cycled through slot machines and gaming tables. They would gamble. Little lose, a little win. A little. Just enough to make it look legitimate. When they cashed out, the money came out clean, complete with receipts and IRS-ready tax slips. Federal auditors later described the setup as a criminal version of a central bank. Behind it all was giovaniserrano, believed to be the second in command of Trendearagua. He is now one of the FBI's most wanted fugitives, with a $3 million bounty on his head. From encrypted channels in Colombia and Venezuela, he allegedly coordinated money flows through casinos, construction companies, and real estate fronts across the United States. For years, he hid behind offshore accounts, ghost corporations, and shell properties in states like Texas, Florida, and Louisiana. By 2024, Trendearagua had quietly spread into 15 states, with sleeper cells in at least 8 more. They were not hiding in slums. They were buying suburban homes, opening local businesses, and embedding themselves inside the American economy. Homeland Security identified 600 migrants potentially linked to the group. 100 of them made it onto the FBI's violent crime watch list. These people did not come to chase dreams. They came to build an empire. In one case, Georgia investigators traced the murder of a college student to gang operatives. In Colorado, an entire apartment building was allegedly taken over by Venezuelan members running human smuggling rings out of the basement. In Houston, agents linked kidnappings. extortion, and murder for hire operations back to the same network. Across Florida and Nevada, businesses that looked legitimate, grocery stores, pawn shops, car washes, were quietly moving cash. What looked like local crime was actually foreign command and control. And yet, for years, intelligence agencies underestimated them. They were not loud. They were not flashy. They operated like professionals, disciplined, quiet, strategic. While America argued about the southern border, the real invasion was happening through the financial system. Money, not migrants, became the weapon. The Vegas raid was the moment the illusion shattered. Agents sealed off 4 square blocks. SWAT teams swept through VIP lounges and penthouse suites. By sunrise, 98 suspects were in custody. Federal trucks, loaded with seized cash, encrypted laptops, and hard drives rolled out under the neon glow of the Strip. Inside one confiscated device, agents found blueprints, maps of financial routes, transaction codes, and offshore accounts. They even found evidence of digital laundering through cryptocurrency and gaming NFTs, proof that the gang had adopted state-level cyber tools. What shocked investigators most was the time span. The financial logs went back to 2022, 3 full years of continuous laundering, tens of millions of dollars pushed through the system. Every night, the same money circled through slot machines and poker tables like blood through veins. The casino was not a building. It was a living organism, built to clean criminal cash. For Washington, this was the final straw. Within days, the United States government officially designated Trendearagua as a foreign terrorist organization. That classification unlocked a new set of tools, the power to freeze assets, intercept funds, and target anyone providing material support. It also meant that anyone linked to the gang could now be prosecuted under anti-terror laws. The Trump administration's response was swift and heavy-handed. ICE reported over 8,700 arrests nationwide in just a week. Some detainees were flown directly to Guantanamobay under emergency deportation orders, a move not seen in decades. Officials declared it part of a new campaign to dismantle foreign criminal syndicates embedded in United States soil. And yet, behind the policy announcements, a silent war was unfolding, one that blurred the lines between immigration enforcement and counterterrorism. The images from that night remain haunting. Helicopters slicing through the desert sky, the Strip flashing with red and blue, tourists watching from hotel windows as armed agents poured into casinos. What began as a show of force turned into a statement to the world. America's playground was no longer untouchable. But even as the smoke cleared, experts warned that the Vegas raid was only the first act. Intelligence reports showed coordinated movements in Texas, Florida, and Illinois. In Houston, the FBI tracked kidnappings and extortion cases linked to the same leadership. In Miami, law enforcement intercepted financial records proving that offshore accounts were being funneled through luxury real estate purchases. And in Chicago, cyber units traced cryptocurrency wallets used to pay for weapons shipments and digital fraud. This was not a gang anymore. It was a hybrid threat, part cartel, part intelligence network. Analysts inside Homeland Security later admitted that the sophistication of the scheme rivaled that of state actors. Encrypted channels on Telegram and WhatsApp were used like military communications. They rotated devices every 48 hours. They used burner networks, end-to-end encryption, and decentralized wallets. Each transaction left just enough of a trace to look legitimate, but not enough to convict. It took years of digital forensics to piece it all together. When the raid hit, casino executives were blindsided. Some were dragged in for questioning. Others faced frozen accounts as investigators searched for signs of complicity. Several major casino chains quietly began internal audits, terrified that the same infiltration could exist elsewhere. By morning, the mood on the Strip had changed. The neon still glowed, but the air felt heavier, cautious. The party city had just woken up to a new kind of war. Across the country, law enforcement scrambled to contain the ripple effect. In Mobile, Alabama, FBI agents arrested half a dozen suspected gang associates, proof that the network had spread far beyond big cities. Agents said this was only the beginning of a much larger national crackdown. Within weeks, smaller raids took place in Arizona, New York, and Louisiana. Each one revealed fragments of the same structure: shell companies, false identities, hidden money routes. The operation, known internally as silentmirage, was quietly expanding. Meanwhile, intelligence analysts drew disturbing parallels. They said trendearagua was adopting tactics once used by Hezbollah, and the Sinaloa cartel blending legitimate business with criminal finance, embedding operatives in migration flows, and using United States soil as a staging ground for global profit. The difference? They were doing it faster and cleaner. By the end of October, United States cyber units reported dozens of cryptocurrency, wallets, frozen millions seized, and several network nodes in South America disrupted. But even with the crackdown, fragments of the gang continued to operate online. Anonymous sources inside the FBI said the group was shifting strategy, moving its laundering operations into online casinos, offshore gambling platforms, and blockchain gaming economies. They were evolving, adapting like a virus, exposed to antibiotics. The lesson was clear. Modern warfare is not always fought with guns and missiles. Sometimes it is fought with code cache and deception. A casino raid might seem small, but it exposed the front line of a new kind of conflict, one where criminal syndicates act as proxies for geopolitical influence. And in that war, the United States just discovered how deep the infection runs. We are anonymous, we watch, we track, we expose. And as long as these networks continue to weaponize money, migration, and fear, we will keep shining light where governments prefer darkness. The night Vegas went silent was not the end. It was the warning.